Your attorney has informed the court of your mental health issues. The court notes that in the police report, there wasn't a weapon used. There were threats made that you had a weapon. These are your two choices, and these are your only two choices. There are no other choices, so don't ask me for another choice. You understand?
A man with 2 prior robbery convictions threatened to shoot a cashier at a San Antonio CVS, gesturing under his coat while she stood at the register. His attorney brought in a social worker, showed mental health records, argued that treatment had changed everything. The state showed a violent history stretching back to 1987. Judge Boyd listened to every word, set down the file, and then said exactly this: "These are your two choices, and these are your only two choices. There are no other choices, so don't ask me for another choice." What she decided next and why is the entire reason this hearing matters.
Court is calling 2023 CR 7583 State versus Monroe Walker. Could I have parties announce?
Brandon Frater, state.
Renee Munoz on behalf of Mr. Monroe Deferred.
All right, and are you Mr. Hurd?
That's mine.
All right, you entered a plea on December 11th to the offense of robbery. According to your plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 6 years in the prison. There's $1,000 fine. The state is opposed to your application. Both parties waived the PSI and TAP evaluation. Are both parties ready to proceed?
State's ready, Judge.
Defense is ready as well, Your Honor.
All right, state, you're opposed. Do you have any witnesses?
Judge, the state has no witnesses.
Defense, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defense, you may call your witness.
The defense so calls Daniel Uresti, social worker from San Antonio State Hospital.
Mr. Hurd? You're back against the counter, sir.
Hello. Good morning. If you could just make sure you keep your voice up so the court reporter can hear.
Okay.
If you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Daniel Uresti.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Uresti, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the San Antonio State Hospital.
Okay. And in what capacity do you work with the San Antonio State Hospital?
I'm a licensed master social worker here at the hospital.
Okay, so to become a licensed master social worker, what kind of education did you have to obtain to get to that position?
I had to get a bachelor's and then a master's degree in social work and get licensed in the state.
Okay. Did you also have to complete a certain number of hours in working with some of the disenfranchised population before you got certified?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you're currently at San Antonio State Hospital for employment, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. What kind of population does the San Antonio State Hospital serve? And what kind of treatment do you guys provide?
We serve both forensic and civil psychiatric or mentally ill patients. We provide services as far as competency restoration. There's different interventions that they provide to help the patients get back into society, basically.
Does that include administering medication?
Yes, they do administer medication at the hospital.
Do they also have group sessions for competency restorations?
They do have a group session for competency.
Okay. And in your capacity as a social worker at the state hospital, did you have any dealings with Mr. Monroe Walker Hurd?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you briefly tell us about your observations while you were working with him as a social worker?
I've been working with Monroe, I guess from the time he came in till the time he left the hospital. You know, he basically was participating in the different groups. He was active with the different teams that were there. He was pretty calm the whole time that he was there. Didn't have any kind of conflict or anything like that. I believe that in my observation, he was successful in becoming competent and then working back competent.
Was he And from the gist of what I believe you're saying is he was following the rules and regulations of the San Antonio State Hospital, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And as you just stated, just right now, to your knowledge, there was no disciplinary issues or aggression or anything like that displayed, is that correct?
No, never during the time.
In fact, in a report, in the San Antonio State Hospital's competency restoration packet, you stated in the said report that he remains calm and cooperative with his treatment, correct?
Right.
Okay. Mhm. Now, furthermore, was Monroe engaged in anything else, any maybe extracurricular things at the state hospital besides his competency restoration and medication management?
Yeah, as far as I can recall, he was active in the unit work program. Those patients are selected by another team. He was also active in different groups like peer support, and I believe he was also in a talent program as well.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the talent show program?
Individuals that are selected for that, they have to be calm, they have to be cooperative, they have to be able to go off the unit and work with other patients and other staff that aren't on the unit.
Would it be safe to say that people selected for that program, the talent show, they're more or less model participants?
I would say so, yes.
And to your knowledge, Mr. Hurd was selected for said program to participate in the talent show,
Yes.
and he was also selected to also participate in the work unit as well, correct?
That is correct.
So ultimately during your assistance of him as a social worker for Mr. Hurd, you were able to see his progress develop over the time that he was receiving treatment, is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you think if afforded the opportunity of probation, he would be able to follow the rules and regulations as he did within the state hospital?
I would think so.
Okay. And again, he was compliant with taking his medication and engaging in sessions as well, correct?
Yes.
No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No, Judge, pass witness.
All right, thank you. Thank you
you.
so much for,
You're
well, I have a couple of questions.
Of course, Your Honor. I'll put it on.
Are you still involved in any type of treatment, or do you know any of the type of treatment that Mr. Hurd is going through?
Not anymore. That's what he's discharged from.
All right, okay, thank you so much.
Appreciate
All right, you may call your next witness.
you. The defense has no further witnesses, Your Honor, just the argument.
All right, Mr. Hurd, if you'll come back, please. All right, state your post. What are you asking for?
Judge, we're asking for the cap of 6 years.
All right,
Your Honor, respectfully, we're asking for the opportunity to community supervision probation. Mr. Hurd does have some history. However, he was not afforded the chance of history of treatment until he had picked up this case and undergone the competency issues. He was sent obviously to the state hospital for more or less a year. Upon him being deemed competent as per the report, Judge Rodriguez was in the magistrate court was very impressed as to his progress, and obviously wanted me to let the DA's office know about his progress. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Gessi gave me a call, and that's how I got connected with him as to the significant progress that he made at the state hospital. Being that he has not been afforded the chance at treatment before, he was merely sent to prison. I believe those courts may have gotten it wrong. Doesn't mean that this court has to as well. He's at a good position now, having undergone treatment, having had access to meds, that he's at a good spring jumping off point to continue that, Your Honor. And we feel strongly that if he's sent to prison, he's going to lose a lot of the progress that he made. In reference to this offense, Your Honor, the robbery, it's non-aggravated. It's pretty well solidified that no weapon was brandished. It was more so the speaking of requesting of objects that the other person might have objectively saw that as being threatening. but no one was hurt or injured or anything of the like, Your Honor. So my client just really wants me to express that his past is not him. He's willing and able to move forward. And looking at the videos and the alleged offense, he was probably about 40 or 50 pounds skinnier than he is now. He was a street person living on the street, using drugs. And this occurred at the CVS down here by the Riverwalk. He's asking for a chance at treatment, Your Honor. Respectfully asking if probation is granted, that he understands that he may have to stay in custody for inpatient treatments, or we're thinking maybe a possible felony drug court referral, coordination with Center for Healthcare Services, get him access to med, get him access to services, a possible help with the housing situation. But I think that something new has been entered into the formula in terms of Mr. Hurd. He's gotten the treatment, and we believe that there's going to be a different result. The past cases, he was never afforded the chance at treatment. It's been documented within the state hospital that there's been no other indication that Mr. Hurd had any kind of meaningful treatment at the state hospital, substance use, or any kind of mental health hospital. So it's unfortunate that Mr. Hurd did have to pick up a charge in order for his mental health issues to be brought to light. But now that we're here, Your Honor, we're asking respectfully if we can attempt to break this cycle of just re-incarceration, re-institutionalization, and give Mr. Hurd a chance to live a meaningful and successful life moving forward.
And what is his mental health diagnosis?
His mental health diagnosis is his anxiety, depression, as well as he has substance use disorder, and has had in the past auditory hallucinations associated with schizoaffective disorder. At the time that he entered the hospital, as per the report, he was hearing voices and things of that nature. Since having received treatment, said that those has since gone away, and he's in a much better place now to not be a threat to anybody in the community. Upon the recommendations of the state hospital restoration packet, it's recommending substance use treatments, as well as continued mental health medication and management to address his issues, Judge. And I know that the court is aware of some of his history and the current charge, but I feel that if someone may have taken a stand earlier and gone in here and addressed these substance use issues at the beginning of Mr. Hurd's criminal history, we could have nipped this in the bud and diverted him away from the system. I know increasingly as time goes on, it may be harder to break out of that, but I believe that the social worker with the San Antonio State Hospital sees something in Mr. Hurd in terms of the progress he had been able to make. I see something in Mr. Hurd that I believe he can be successful on probation, given the right tools. But I do think he needs the help of a structured program to address his mental health issues with medication management, as well as substance use issues with, I think they kind of are commingled in a sense, and leading him to, in the past, a life of just living on the street. So we're asking the court to mix it up and to hopefully give him a chance on probation.
All right. Here's the thing. Yes.
So could I make a brief argument to show the state's opposition? Judge, Mr. Hurd was indicted on robbery, but he was also indicted with the habitual enhancement because of two robberies, one that he was convicted on in 1987 and the other one that came from 1992. After that, he was convicted of assault, family violence in 2014, and he was convicted again just 2 years ago of burglary of a vehicle. That, on top of reading the offense report that should be in the state's evidence, he states to the victim, Chloe, and I quote, "Don't press the button or I'll shoot you," while gesturing under his coats, make a gun gesture with his hand like so. Because of that, Judge, because of the violent nature of this, the offense and the violent history that Mr. Hurd has, I don't think that probation is a justified disposition of this case. The state is opposed and is asking for 6 years TBC.
Your Honor, we're asking respectfully to address the root cause of this issue so that we're foreseeably looking forward past this case, and not just the existence of this case, but his life in general, which he still has a lot to live and to contribute. And to
So here's my question. Has he been on probation before?
No, Your Honor. I don't believe so. I think he's just been in prison. You've been on probation? Yeah. Whatever probation.
State, has he ever been on probation?
Hold on, Judge.
Yes.
Probation files.
Related to him?
Yes, Judge.
Oh,
And
1985?
yes,
And what was the offense?
property.
That's all I'm seeing, Judge. Everything else has been either prison or jail time.
And probation, I'm assuming was there a revocation?
And unfortunately, the records from that time are not in the system, so I can't tell you if it was revocation or not.
That was, my math may be off, but I meant maybe like 40 years ago. Yeah,
Mhm.
understandably, yeah.
Well, let's not say that because that's aging me. I remember 1985 and I remember it well. All right. So, and here's the court's other question. This may have already been answered. So at some point in time before his plea on this case, he was deemed to be incompetent,
Correct, Your Honor.
and that was, this offense was committed. Then he was evaluated for competency after this offense.
That's correct, Judge. Yes, this offense from June 13th, 2023. Mr. Hurd has been confined since then, and he was deemed, he had another attorney on his case, Mr. McRae, since went to the fourth court. I was appointed on his matter, but upon him being restored to competency, they sent the packet through and I was appointed at that time. So I did handle his case with Judge Rodriguez down in the basement, and she went over the report. She was quite impressed with the progress. He did participate in the talent show. He was very happy about that and grateful for the opportunity to participate. He practiced and auditioned for 2-3 weeks in advance, and he was able to put on a good show. He had a great time there at the San Antonio State Hospital. So ordinarily, with given some of the background, I would maybe not be making this request, but for the progress he made at the state hospital, Judge Rodriguez's impression that he's come a long way, and my impression that he's also come a long way from where he had started. He had started in 2023, and the court could try to just see it fit to grant the probation, maybe give him a chance. If not, he reverts back to the prison setting, but at least he's been given a meaningful chance. His previous cases, he was seemingly just thrown in.
All right, so this
Release.
is what the court is going to do. All right, the state is offering you a cap of 6 years opposed. The range of punishment for this offense is up to 20 years in the prison. That's really the full range of punishment. So your liability for this offense has been capped at 6 years. So what does that mean? That means if I were to convict you and sentence you to probation, your minimum time, the maximum amount of time I could give you if you were to violate the conditions would be 6 years in the prison. If I were to give you deferred adjudication, what that means is if you were to violate it, the maximum amount of time I could give you would be 20 years in the prison. Do you understand? Your attorney has informed the court of your mental health issues. The court notes that in the police report, there wasn't a weapon used. There were threats made that you had a weapon. These are your two choices and these are your only two choices. There are no other choices, so don't ask me for another choice. You understand? One, I can deny your application, sentence you to 5 years in the prison. Or I'll grant your application for deferred adjudication. You will be on deferred adjudication for 8 years. And you're going to start being in custody. You'll be referred to felony drug court. If felony drug court doesn't accept you, then whatever TAP recommendations has, you may be in an inpatient facility for your drug issues, as well as you will be evaluated for the mental health unit. Which do you prefer?
I may, Your Honor. Your Honor, I've explained the situation of my client. I've advised him as to the court being able to, in this instance, grant him deferred, and if he is not successful, what he would be looking at a revocation if he does not follow through with the recommendations of the community supervision department, as well as any treatment recommendations. Mr. Hurd, do you want the opportunity at probation and treatment?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. The following evaluations are to be done in custody: the MIC evaluation, TAP evaluation, referral to felony drug court. There is to be, upon release, full GPS, waive fees. I'm sorry, not full GPS. It'll be partial GPS for any medical treatment. And when I say medical treatment, that includes mental health treatment, waive fees, and that's to be until further notice. And probation, I know I'm putting in here proof of employment, but we'll approach that. The first thing I want to know is about the evaluation. So there'll be proof of employment 60 days after release and completion of evaluation. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or minors. And probation, that's proof of employment or SSI. There's a $1,000 fine that will be probated. 200 hours of community service restitution. 100 of those hours will be deemed satisfied upon completion of the MRT. Do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
Field visits 1 time per month until further notice. State, is there any restitution?
None that I know of, Judge.
All right, and there's to be no contact with CVS pharmacy at 300 East Commerce Street. Probation, is there anything else? Thank you. There's to be regular random UAs. Anything else, probation? All right, and probation, how long do you think it'll take to do the MIC evaluation and TAP evaluation? All right, Ms. Ferguson. On this, can I have a reset date and 6 weeks, please?
And Judge, can we also ask for a no contact with the complaining witness, Miss Chloe Medina?
All right, yes,
Thank you, Judge.
and there'll be no contact with the complainant.
March 5th.
All right, and we're gonna come back on March 5th. And defendant is to remain in custody until that date.
Yes, Your Honor. And if we get word back sooner, may we approach the court for a sooner date?
Yes. All right, is there anything else you need from the court? All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. So I want to let you know, I took into consideration your mental health issues. It was telling to the court that immediately after this incident, you were deemed to be incompetent. And I do note in the court's record that it shows that you were actually sent to the state hospital to restore competency. So in this court, communication is key, and it's going to especially be key to you because you have other issues that are going on with you. You're going to need to make sure you stay in contact with probation. If there's an issue, you need to let probation know. If you're on medications, you need to stay med compliant.
Yeah.
If you feel that there's an issue with the medication or if there's a side effect, do not quit that cold turkey. I'm not a medical doctor, but you need to speak to your doctor and let them know there are issues with your medication. That GPS, if there's a tamper with that GPS or anything that goes wrong with that GPS, or if it's not charging correctly, you feel it's not charging correctly, you had better call probation and call the GPS officer and say, hey, there's something wrong with my GPS. Because if I get a motion back saying strap tamper, we can't locate you, you know what ends up happening? If everything seems in order and they can't locate you, somebody, either it's going to be me or somebody else, they're going to issue a judge's warrant for your arrest. You understand? All right, good luck to you. Thank you. Thank you, State.
Thank you, Judge.
You, Alan, for Mr. Salazar?
And are you Mr. Salazar?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Motion to Revoke Community? I'm sorry, motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Henry Renee Salazar who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2025 CR 010320 for the offense of evading arrest or detention with a vehicle on August 22nd, 2025 for a period of 5 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
Judge. We're proceeding on the motion, but we do have an oral amendment to violation of section 10.
Oh, is there another?
There should be a supplement, First Amendment. Have that, Judge?
No.
Okay. Want to see this?
Yes, please.
Here you go, Judge.
Thank you. And also, did you review the First Amendment motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, State, you may proceed.
To do the first amended motion to revoke. And it's regarding violation of conviction number 10. It should read violation of condition number 11 on or about the 21st day of October 2025 in Fair County, Texas. The defendant Henry Renee Salazar did then and there purchase, receive, possess, or transport a weapon in violation of condition number 11.
Any objection to the amendment?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
All right, Mr. Salazar, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Henry Salazar?
All right, do you understand that the state is asking that the violation condition be amended to reflect a violation of condition number 11 and not condition number 10?
Yes.
Do you understand that's a substantive change to the motion to revoke? And do you understand that your attorney has certain rights or certain days to prepare for to answer the allegations that are in this motion?
Yes.
And are you waiving that time?
Yes.
And defense, are you waiving the time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then to violation of condition number 11 as read by the state, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
State,
Been abandoned or remainder tonight.
any objection to the waivers?
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 11, if the court were to find that true, the court could find you guilty, revoke, and sentence you up to 3 years, I'm sorry, after 10 years in the prison. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And knowing that you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 11.
Yes.
Court will find violation of condition number 11 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. This time the state is asking that we deny the state's motion, alter and amend his conditions for him to attend state ISF. And the reason for that after time with the probation department is because he was just placed on deferred adjudication in August of 2025. I know there are other allegations that are going to be taken care of outside of disagreement. However, after reviewing the evidence, that is what we are recommending.
All right, thank you. All right, state, you may be excused. Probation, is that your recommendation?
Yes, Judge.
All right. How old are you?
19.
All right. Do you want me to follow this or you want me to send you to prison?
I would like.
All right, so here's the thing. I understand that sometimes people are young, right? And they don't think things through. The studies I've seen and based on my experience as a defense attorney and prosecutor, sometimes young people, they don't look at the consequences. Sometimes it has to do with instant gratification, or sometimes there's peer pressure. You are on deferred adjudication for a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is 2 to 10 years at the prison. You understand? You're going to have to, if I follow your agreement, you're going to have to start making better decisions. Otherwise, you're going to end up in prison, potentially. And I really regret that they don't have after-school programs anymore. I think we're all old enough, maybe except for Megan. We're all old enough to remember the after-school specials. And there were 2 after-school specials that I saw when I was growing up. One was with Susan Day from the Partridge Family. I think it was called Caged, where she ended up going to prison. I think she had stole something, right? And she's in prison with all of these grown adults, and she's sort of like a teenager. And the other one was involving the actors who played in The White Shadow. Do you remember The White Shadow? About this white guy who goes in to do this basketball team in the bad part of town, but it ran for many years. And they did a Scared Straight thing with them. And so with Scared Straight, what ended up happening is they would take young people, take them to the jail or the prison where the inmates scream at them and tell them this is what's going to happen to you in prison or whatever. And so in that Scared Straight program, the inmate told the guy, the teenager, say, look, if you don't get your life better, you're going to end up coming in here in prison, and it's not where you want to be. And you know what ended up happening? One of them didn't listen to them, and they ended up going to prison, and they thought it was going to be fine because they're like, oh my gosh, you remember me? You talked to me doing Scared Straight. And that inmate looked at him and said, I don't know you. And then the screen went black. So you don't want to be the person who ends up in prison because you can't think through the consequences of your actions. You understand?
Yes.
So I give people choices sometimes, so I'm gonna give you a choice today, right? I can revoke you. I'll sentence you to 2 years in the prison, or I'll follow the state's recommendation, which is deny your motion, alternate your conditions, which is what he's agreed to, your counsel has agreed to. You're going to go into custody and you're going to go to ISF. So, and I believe, do y'all want ISF cognitive, or is there something else going on?
It's almost but like really what is
Okay. So those are your choices. Which do you prefer?
Second.
All right. And then if you're drug tested today, is there going to be any positive other than, well, you tell me, what is it? What are you going to be positive for?
Just not out.
All right. So who's your support system?
Mom, brother, and my grandma.
All right. So do you love your mom and your grandmother? Stop putting them through this. Life is so easy. You know, there was a blues song that I love to listen to. And that person said, life is hard, but it's fair. Like, you're going to come in bumps along the way, but you're in the big boys land. And if you don't do right, you could go to prison. You cannot smoke marijuana. And I want you to stress this to him after I finish. You can't do marijuana while you're on probation. Can't do alcohol while you're on probation. Don't hang out with people who mean you no good while you're on probation. Do you understand? Is this mom here today or grandpa?
She's here.
All right. Mom, could you come up for a moment, please?
Miss Sosa.
Hello. Hi. I'm not going to swear in. Any objections to me not swearing her in?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So tell me, So neither the state nor the defense wants him to go to prison. He's very young. That's why I'm looking at things slightly differently. So I'm gonna need you to be the strong, strict parent for him. So tell me, what is his issues? What does he need? Is there some condition that I need to give him to help you put him in line?
I think that the ISF program is gonna be the best option for him. I think that is gonna be something better than prison. He's young and he's, despite his actions, he's honestly really smart. He's really, really smart.
So is he in school or is he hanging around with different people you don't want him hanging around with? What's going on?
It's the company he keeps, it's not them. Whenever friends get together, all of them make decisions that are not good. Luckily, he's no longer around friends. He has no more friends. They come around no more. He's just by himself. He did register in school to get his diploma or GED
Okay.
recently, so which would be Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, I feel like he needs to own up to his actions and face the consequences. And I think this would be a good program.
Right. So tell me, when he's at home, other than working towards his GED, is he employed? What does he do all day?
He's not employed yet. He's had some interviews lined up.
Okay.
And just other than that, I mean, he hasn't got hired yet, but he was still focusing on going to school and completing, because like I said, he's actually really smart.
Okay. And let me ask you this, does he need GPS so you'll know where he is? The fees will be waived, so it won't be any extra financial burden.
I think GPS might help for right now. He doesn't have any, he doesn't want to cut it off or flee or anything like that. He does good on it. He won't even leave the front door. He does well on it. He's not disrespectful towards me or his siblings. He has manners. I'm sorry for what he's done. I couldn't tell you why he's made those decisions, but.
Oh, no, here's the thing, not your fault. At some point, even if we think that we haven't been good parents, at some point, it's no longer your fault. At some point, people have to start taking responsibility for their own actions. So I'm just trying to figure out what we can do so that potentially he doesn't go to prison, you know? All right, thank you so much. All right, come back. All right, so this is what the court will do. Court denied the motion to alter and amend conditions to include state ISF. You'll go into custody for that. There's going to be partial GPS for school or work until further notice, waive the fees. There's going to be 300 hours of community service restitution. 100 of those hours will be deemed satisfied upon completion of the GED. I'm going to order you to get your diploma or GED, and then the remaining hours will be deemed satisfied if you obtain any type of trade school certification or if you attend some type of higher learning. You understand? Now, I'm not ordering you to get your trade school certification, but you have a choice. Either you can do 200 hours of community service out in the heat, or either you can do it to better yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any questions about anything?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Probation, is there anything else?
No, Judge.
All right. We can go off the record. In this court, communication is key. You have an issue, you better talk to probation. If you feel they're not addressing it, that's why I'm here. All right, good luck to you.